Hi guys, what's going on, and welcome back to another video on Conqueror's Blade. So today I kind of wanted to revisit the Glaive. We've had a couple of videos on the Glaive now over the past sort of probably 2 or 3 months since I switched to the Glaive from the Maul, and kind of my playstyle on it has evolved slightly, and kind of the skills I'm using and the attribute points I've put in have also changed. So I kind of wanted to touch on that a little bit, plus we'll then hop into some Glaive gameplay, a bit of a tongue twister, and kind of see how we've been getting on. So what's changed? Well, when I first started off on Glaive, if you excuse the stupid Christmas attire, then I started off as full armor. You know, heavy armor with all my attribute points into armor. And that's because that's what I've been playing previously, both in the poleaxe and as the Maul. So I'm kind of used to having all that tankiness. And then when you change to a new class, and it kind of takes time to adjust, at least for me, to kind of learn the muscle memory of the different keys, then having that tankiness gives you that extra survivability and the ability to make more mistakes. And so I think that's why I found I got on so much better as a full armor Glaive. Then kind of as time went on, I kind of got the hang of it a little bit, and I ended up switching to a 50-50 split between strength and armor. That kind of gave me that increase in damage. Started to really scale up the blunt damage on this weapon, which is kind of what it's all about, because a lot of the skills for Glaive are blunt based, both the Flying Reaper and the Breaker of Shields. So that meant it really started to disproportionately increase my damage. So you use a noticeable damage increase by going 50% strength. Then kind of as more time has gone on, and I think I've got quite comfortable with the class now, quite more comfortable with stunning people with the Warlord's Greeting and being able to sort of roll out situations and avoid damage, I've completely moved away from armor into full strength. I am still a heavy armor user, but now I've got full strength. That damage, that blunt damage, is really starting to increase. Plus I've got the blunt damage bonus on my Glaive because I've got a pretty good craft out of it now, so I'm pretty pleased with that. And that slashing damage and that slashing AP is also really nice, so the base damage of the weapon, you know, swinging on a horse or just using normal attacks, is also really quite good. So it means I've got sort of a pretty good setup going on. I could of course switch to medium armor, so if I did a Carnifex set, let's just put that in, then you will see you're getting a couple of bonuses. You're getting a flat 150 blunt damage increase, and I'm also getting an extra 10 points in strength. So that's putting me even higher, puts me up to 99 on the strength, you see. So that means my blunt damage then is scaling up another couple of 100 points, which is also really nice. So your damage would really start to scale. But a couple of things happen, and there's a couple of reasons why I haven't really yet been doing this, at least full time anyway. One is that you do actually lose a real chunk of defense points. I guess that's kind of obvious. You're going from a heavy armor to a medium armor, so that's kind of to be expected. You know, you do lose quite a lot of survivability by going that way. You find that those sort of mid to low tier units start to do quite a chunk more damage, start to take quite a chunk more damage from low tier archers. So I don't know if I'm necessarily ready, or if it's actually beneficial enough to switch from that heavy armor to the medium armor, because you do still get an element of tankiness from that heavy armor. But more than that, I've been playing heavy armor for as long as I can remember, pretty much entirely since the start of the game. So that means I've got pretty reasonable leadership crafts, at least on some of my pieces, you know, plus 17 there, and obviously legendary boots and legendary gloves. That means I actually have a pretty good set of heavy armor, whereas my set of Carnifex is actually pretty crap. So I need to start crafting more regularly when I get spare powdered silver, some Carnifex sets, to see if I can start to get some half decent drops. I think if I can start to get some decent legendary or leadership Carnifex armor, which is going to make up this sort of 37 leadership shortfall, then I think it starts to become much more viable that maybe I'll look and play a little bit more with medium armor. But I think until that point, I'm probably going to stay as a full strength heavy armor Glaive, because my damage, my blunt damage, is still good, and it puts us well into the mid 800s on that piercing, slashing and blunt defense, which I think is well worth having. Skill wise, I've also changed a little bit. I used to run Arc of Steel, this ability here, which is quite nice for sort of AoE damage, 61% base slashing, and obviously with the damage that I'm getting from my crafted Glaive, that is kind of nice. It does do quite a chunk of damage against enemy units, but there are some consequences, and I've ended up swapping it out for the God of Battles. This increases my attack power and that of my units, and technically allied units as well, by 15%. So kind of as we've seen, for example, like in the flamethrower video, We saw the God of Battles being used, it takes their base flamethrower damage from 800 to just over 1,000. So things like that are really nice, and you can use it to buff units all the time. Even if it's a unit of Namkan archers, they get 15% increased damage. A unit of javelins, they get 15% increased damage. Or the flamethrowers, 15%. Or just, a melee unit of paladins. And it really starts to make a difference, and it scales up quite nicely. On top of that, obviously, it gives you that increase in damage. That means you're getting 15% more blunt damage at your Flying Reaper. 15% more, blunt damage at your Breaker of Shields. And you're getting these already very high damage abilities. Growing that, that bit further means you can really start to sort of one-shot people with these Flying Reapers. I think if you combine that with medium armor, then the Flying Reaper, we could start to be looking at taking off almost half an enemy hero's health in one ability. So that's kind of why I've switched to the God of Battles over the Arc of Steel, because I think I can kind of do enough with my horse and just my normal attacks and the sort of two abilities I have here than with that Arc of Steel. So for me, the God of Battles starts to become a more worthwhile ability. Okay, let's hop into a battle then. See how we get on. See if we can put some of these skills to use in some combat. So here we go. We are loading into battle with our Glaive on Valley Fortress. Thank God it's not Orgolia. Yeah, initially, I'm not going to throw my unit over there because we are a little bit trimmable. One of the problems, I guess, with being a melee class is that kind of at the start of these siege battles, I always feel like there's not all that much to do. Okay, I can try and find an artillery. Maybe I'll grab this Scorpion over here if it doesn't get destroyed before I get there. But other than that, because I don't have any sort of ranged weapons, it's a little bit hard to do anything super effectively. Are they going to be out of range? I think pretty much. Yeah. Shame. Otherwise I'd try and hit them. Oh, there's a pipe militia moving across the open ground. Give that a shot. Too far? Too far? Yes. So while we wait for stuff to move in, obviously the main thing, my main enjoyment about the Glaive, I think, comes in sort of two parts. I think it's both the stun that it gets from things like Warlord's Greeting, and an element the stun that it gets from its Flying Reaper, particularly useful for taking out clusters of stalwarts and things like that so your units can charge in. But then also its ability to put out really focused damage against enemy heroes, which is again thanks partly to the Breaker of Shields because of its really high-end blunt damage, and also down to its Flying Reaper as well because again it's blunt damage, so it means it always scales really highly. If you get a critical hit from behind with Flying Reaper and I've got my damage buff active, it's not unreasonable to hit for sort of 10,000 damage, something like that. And so that is really effective. And obviously, as soon as a hero is sort of down to a third health, something like that, you can potentially one-shot them. And if not, then you're certainly actually going to do a real chunk of the damage with the Flying Reaper, and then combine that with the Breaker of Shields, and you really are going to be doing a lot. And there's not a lot that most enemies are going to be able to do about that. So we're not got any siege towers in. Oh, as we say that, an enemy siege tower lands. Let's go and have a look down this way then. Oh, they're actually going to be pushing up that siege tower. I don't really want to be fighting in my Azaps instead in a cluster in the middle, really, the A point. Would have perhaps been better off bringing my paladins for that sort of thing. Just leave them down the bottom then initially and kind of have a look. But we've got the tower secure. There's enemy mall down here by the looks of it. Always kind of a dangerous thing to fight. Try and make use of my horse if I can. Ah! I'm almost tempted to chase him down, to be honest. Oh, he died. He fell to his death. Well, I don't think we can quite claim that as a kill, but maybe half a kill. So they're going to be pushing this siege tower predominantly. Although actually it looks like there's a bit of stuff climbing. Are they climbing ladders over there?
Yes, Commander.
So, then that certainly looks like fun. That's more what my Azaps are designed for. Ooh, this looks interesting. I'm keen. So we've got a Glaive and an Adachi. Interesting combination. I'd rather they were off the stairs, to be honest, as a shield unit. I would rather they got onto the flat. Quite hard for me to deal with that there. I suppose we've probably got no choice.
Yes, Commander.
Particularly if friendly units are going to go in. We go like that. I'm going to Flying Reaper him. Okay, we've got the knockdown on the Glaive and the unit. Oh, hit by the Adachi though. Try and get myself out there. Okay, oh, if I can get off the floor, then I'm going to damage buff my unit. They all get the damage buff. It looks like they're abandoning the unit, so we're just going to have to fight our way up. Watch out for the enemy Flying Reaper. He missed predominantly. Can we get the stun on him? Yes, we can. We'll go in with our Breaker of Shields. And he died. So you see we're able to get both our stun on him and use our breaker of shields then to get the damage, which really pretty much finished him off. Okay, we didn't quite get the kill, but realistically we did the damage there. And we can probably finish off these guys as well. They're getting shot to death by the enemy ranged anyway. Okay, so we cleared out that little bit of a push there. Those Imperial shields are now dead. Let's just throw the ASAPs back on the supply because they're all kind of damaged and have a little bit of a look. They're still pushing these two siege towers, although for now we seem to be holding the A point. Perhaps let's have a little bit of a look up there while we're waiting for our ASAPs to get back to the supply point and kind of heal themselves up. It looks like, oh, actually, things are pretty bad. Get a little bit of a knockdown there. Oh yeah, this is definitely not so good. There comes a time when there's just suicide really to push any further. Okay, now we're getting them a bit more. I'm going to go for a Flying Reaper just to try and cause knockdown on a good chunk of their paladins. Not going to get as much in the way of kills, but it is causing a lot of CC. Remember, I am full strength, so I'm fairly fragile. You see I can get the damage in on the enemy Glaive player there. Okay, he's on to me. And someone else just fallen down there. Full strength short sword. And we've got guys pushing down here. Let's have a look. Is he pushing me? No. We should have our unit coming back. We've got an enemy short sword player here. Use our damage. He's on the retreat, so we should be able to push up here. I just don't think the A point's going to hold, although maybe realistically I should be pushing there now. I just feel like the ASAPs really aren't the unit to be doing it with. Okay, let's take a brave pill and go around the back. Oh, good job if our team really did deal with that. Much better than what I just did. Okay, we've got a few new players up there. Let's push around this way. Come on, ASAPs. We're getting shot at a little bit by the enemy ranged. Okay, they're pulling back down that way. Nice job, nice job. There we go. I'm going to go for a little bit of a cheeky heal. Just keep an eye on what's coming around behind us. Go for the charge if they want to engage those javelin units. Where's that wall gone? Okay, I'm going to just go for the back of the javelins. Hey, really good damage. Okay, we've got caught by the enemy Glaive player. See, he's getting some good damage in on me. There we go, though. Our counter-attack with our ASAPs worked. And we're kind of able to push him back. There's the trap. Oh, no, that's not what you want to do. Okay, let's get the unit back to the supply. See if we can get out of this one alive. I have all my skills on cooldown. Okay. Falling off the siege tower is not how to play the Glaive. I don't know. Not such a good move there, Evo. It's kind of the... I don't know if anyone else does that. I don't do it all that often, but sometimes when you're... Because if you double tap and then you roll, sometimes they end up rolling kind of in a direction that I didn't really intend to. And rolling off a siege tower like that. Anyway, we should have a pretty short respawn. We'll perhaps grab our paladins next as our next unit. Pull these guys out. And let's have a look where we're going to go to next. Looks like they're still pushing kind of on the B wall, so we'll probably head back there. But as you can sort of see before I got killed, when we hit those javelins, that Flying Reaper, the damage can be really effective against both units and heroes, which is kind of what makes it so versatile. Because it causes a really serious amount of knockdown, it's really useful in that sort of capacity. And remember, I also have the Warlord's Greeting as a stun mechanic, so I can stun enemy Glaive players like that. And then I can use... There we go. We can use Breaker of Shields to get my damage in. If my ultimate is on cooldown, or I just want a quick hit, then the Breaker of Shields does a really good job of that. Okay. Pushed up there and cleared those lot out. So are they continuing to push the A point? Yes, they kind of are. There's actually an enemy short sword back here. Although it looks like he's perhaps being hunted. And I'm not sure realistically what he's going to be able to achieve back there. Because if he's not going to the D point, then I don't really know what he's going to do. Only 1 minute 50 left, so I think they're going to start really pushing quite hard sooner rather than later. And here comes the big push probably on the A point. Let's get our paladins up. Oh, it's an Imperial Pike advance. Lovely. Assuming that's going to end very shortly. Hopefully I've not timed that badly. Oh, I have. Oh, how did we not quite get the kill on that maul? There we go. Okay, let's cut through these guys. Keep pushing paladins forwards. Use my Break of Shields to get that real blunt damage in. Okay, let's push through and down them. Okay, so we managed to clear them out there fairly effectively. You see the damage, we're able to do that more. Obviously, because there are so many enemy units around him, they kind of absorbed a lot of our damage from our breaker of shields there. It's kind of a shame, but you're still able to see sort of the damage they're able to do. Not quite sure what he thought he was waiting for. Ah, I got grabbed! No! Okay, well, we got revenge. Thank you, paladins. Although they are now being trebbed. Move this way, please. I'm being shot a lot by enemy ranged units. But with only 35 seconds left to go, it does not really matter. Let's go down the tower. I'll get as much stun as we can. Another unit of paladins pushing down. That's perfect. We can then hit from behind. Obviously, our slashing damage is so high, we do a real good chunk of damage there when we push down. Oh, there's so much enemy range. This is only going to go one way. I'm just trying to get as many kills as I can. Oh, well, we got some. We got to the enemy unit of archers right at the end. Still, it kind of goes to show a little bit what the glaive can kind of be about. It has both very high stun ability and very high damage ability. And when you combine that with charging units like the paladins, I think that really works well. And that's kind of, for me, what makes the glaive such a fun unit to play. Anyway, hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you have, let me know what you think about this in the comments down below. Do you think I should switch to medium armour, or should I stay with my slightly better, for now at least, heavy armour set that I've got available to me? Anyway, let me know what you think in the comments. Of course, subscribe to the channel for lots more Conqueror's Blade content, and I shall see you all on the next video.